Hello everyone, this is Brad with your ChildTrax support team. I'm going to be covering a few items this morning that are relating to September's update that will be coming out in the near future. And before this update is released, before it's implemented, you will receive an email with the notes from everything that I'm going to cover today. But I'm just going to give you a quick overview, that way you can actually see it being done on the system itself, so you know the proper steps to take for these new features that we're adding. The first one I'm going to cover, as you'll notice here, we're on the supervisor home page. I've chosen pending task tab, so I'm looking at a list of pending tasks. The new update is going to have a delete button over here on this right side, as that was not there before. You will be able to now security level 4 and 5 users will now be able to remove these pending tasks from the supervisor homepage. And I'm going to delete this one, and you see you're prompted one time to make sure that you do want to delete that specific pending task. So it does ask you before you want to delete it, and it says click continue or delete to delete it, or cancel to return to the dashboard. Once you click OK, we'll see that top one for Jerry Mouse is now gone. So that is for removing pending tasks. Let's say one is on there that was not necessary. You can now delete those. Again, this is on the supervisor home page, and this is only available, the delete button is only available for security level 4 and 5 users. Next thing we're going to look at is the being able to delete a referral. So if you come up to Client, Intake, find a referral. We're going to search. I'm going to search a couple, about a year's worth of time. You choose your dates, click search to find the referrals. Notice over here on the right, once again, there are delete options over here. The ones that do not have a delete button, it's not there because those kids are actually tied to a placement. Those kids have actually been placed, so you're not able to delete those referrals. You're only able to delete the referrals that are not tied to a current placement. And again, this will be a security level 4 or 5, being able to delete those referrals. But that is the referral search screen. And once again, if the delete button's there, it means that particular kid is not tied to a placement, and you're able to remove those referrals. Now I'm going to go to a client's placement page, and we'll show you a couple new things with the client care items. We have a couple reset buttons now for client care items. The first one I'm going to show you, I'm going to go under case management. And this is where you set up the proper case management for the kid once he's placed. If you'll notice here at the very bottom, it says reset all client care for foster care super agency to its initial state. What this button is going to do is it's going to reset all of the client care items that are tied to this agency for this kid. It's going to reset them all back to due just after his placement or right at his placement, however they're configured. Let's say something is configured to be due 30 days after placement date. It will reset it back to that specific date. It'll be 30 days after his placement date. But that's going to be every single client care item. All the items in the list, it will reset every one of those. And something to note on this one, and I'll say the same thing for the other reset button we'll look at, is once you click this reset button, you're going to be prompted twice to verify that you truly want to reset those items, and make sure that you're very sure that you want to reset those, because once you do, we are unable to recover those that have been completed already. So if you reset them, it goes back to its initial state, and we're not able to recover the ones that were reset that have already been completed. So you just want to be 110% sure that's actually what you want to do. The other reset button, I'll look at education portfolio. I'm going to click on the title of the client care item. And you'll see here we have, this is a normal search screen where you'd search and you click go, and you see the list of previous completed items. you'll now see the reset button at the bottom here. This just resets this particular item. So in this case, you'd be resetting the education portfolio client care item, just this one item. Now again, it sets it back to its initial state, whatever it started at, based on this kid's placement. And again, you will be prompted twice to reset it. Here, I'm just going to hit the button. It says you're about to reset education portfolio to its initial state. Click continue to reset. Again, it asks you again, are you sure that you want to reset education portfolio to its initial state? Once you click yes, it prompts you there that it says the reset has been complete. If I close this out, we'll go back and look at it. And it has been reset back to its original date. This would be the original due date right after this kid was placed. So it did reset it back to its initial date. But again, it prompts you twice before you do that. And only, again, with both of these reset buttons for client care, only security level 4 and 5 users have that functionality in the system. Now, we'll go back to the next thing I want to cover is the respite entry screen. I say we'll use this same placement. We go to edit. I say we're going to respite this kid to a different branch office or whatever. We'll go to respite client, and this screen that comes up, the one thing we've done here on this screen is down here it says where the payment to the placed home is taxable. We've removed the wording paid respite only down in this area, so that is no longer there. And the start date, we've made some changes to start and end date and how they're entered. The system's now going to verify that the respite is being entered in the correct order, that the dates aren't out of order, out of sequence. And it gives you a little bit of some guidance up here. It says current home placement date 1/2/2014. So you have those dates as a reference so you don't enter incorrect date. Also, the system is now going to verify that the respite is within the right placement, that you're not respiting a kid that based on his previous placement. If he was in a home, if he's been moved from home to home, it's verifying that you're respiting the kid within the current placement. Also, with dates, the system's now going to verify that the respite doesn't span multiple placements. So again, if he was in a couple different homes, 3 different homes, it's going to look at those dates and say, well, these dates are out of this current placement range. It started before this current placement. It's not going to allow you to do that. And again, finally, with respites, the system's now going to verify that the end date is actually after the start date. And we'll look at some other areas in the system where this is going to take place as well. But for respites, it's the same way. It's going to make sure that this date is after the end date. Now with discharge dates, we'll go to the edit screen once again. Let's see. With discharges, it's going to make sure that the discharge date is actually after the placement date. So I choose my reasons. I've chosen my date and I go discharge. See the message that comes up, the discharge date must be after 1/2/2014, which is the current placement. So it does give you that date and says you've entered a date before, and it's no longer going to allow you to do that. So it does not mess up the record keeping for that, and that is on discharges. Movement dates the same way. Again, it says the date must be, if I go here and I'm going to try to enter the same date here. Choose my agency like you normally would. Choose a different home. And I'm going to save the movement now. It's going to tell me after I've chosen the reason, done, performed all the normal steps for a movement. It's going to say the move date, just like it did with the discharge. Move date must be after the placement date of 1/2/2014. So it's not going to allow you to move a kid before he was actually placed, which makes sense. And that's movement. That covers movements, discharges the same way. Another thing you'll notice on client incidents, you go to kids placement page, click on client incidents. You'll notice now there's 2 buttons at the top, or 3 buttons depending on how he's placed. This kid is in foster care and services, so there's 2 buttons there. Instead of just at the bottom. Now the buttons at the bottom will still be there obviously, but then we've added the adding a new incident button at the top. And this came about because some kids have quite a list of incidents here, and instead of having to scroll all the way to the bottom anymore, you can now just click the correct button at the top and add your new incident instead of having to scroll all the way down at the bottom. Now we'll move on to residential placements, and the option over here, you click next to placement, probation officer, case manager. This information that's entered in here, pertaining obviously to the probation officer, case manager, is now going to be on the client's face sheets, as it was not before. So you'll have that as a reference among many other things on the face sheet, as you didn't before. And once this pulls up, I'll show you where it's located. Now if you go down to the case information residential section, right there, you'll see now that we have the probation officer / case manager listed, and all the information that was listed under this kid's placement. And again, if there were multiple, this list is just going to expand down. It's going to get bigger depending on how many there are. This kid only has 1, so we see the 1 there. Now I'm going to go back to the caseworker and supervisor homepage. Show you a couple things there. We'll start on the supervisor homepage. Let's say I'm on pending task, and as I showed you before, we've got the delete button. I click OK to delete. Now what would have happened before the update is this client care tab, it would default to this client care tab every time. So let's say I'm over here, I delete a pending task. It opens the pending task screen right back up. So I'm still on the screen that I was before I clicked on the link delete, or even if let's go ahead and complete one. Get that one done. Again, I'm still on the pending task screen instead of defaulting back to the client care. Now, same thing with the caseworker screen. If you follow a link of some kind, it's going to keep you on that screen you were just on. It does not default back to the client care tab. Another thing new on the caseworker home, notice we're at a caseworker home page right now. If you click on the menu icon over here, open up the menu, go to requirements, we now have what's called a foster parent date tracker. This is just an ongoing list of foster parent requirements that are due, going to be due soon or overdue. That way you can quickly look at each foster parent and their requirements and the dates, the effective date, expiration date, any comments, and then this is pertaining to all the foster parents that this caseworker has kids placed in. Again, the color coding, we have the bright red here, meaning it's overdue. We have the light yellow here, meaning that it's coming due very soon. If one is out in the distance a little bit, it's just normal text the way you see it here, 8/28/2015. Again, so the same color coding that you're used to on a client care screen means the same thing here on the foster parent requirement date tracker screen. Obviously, to add a new one, you'd click to add new requirement, choose your effective date, choose your expiration date. We do pet immunizations, choose the coordinator. In this case, I'll choose myself, and any notes you would like to enter for that, and click save. And then now we have pet immunizations up underneath this particular parent. And again, to view that requirement that you added in that date tracker, you just click on the title and it brings up the information that you entered before. And again, with the delete, level 4 and 5 would have the option to delete those requirements. Underneath the level 4 does not have that option. And that covers the foster parent date tracker. Now we're going to move on to end of month reporting, billing, basically. We're going to look at the pre-end of month verification tool that we've built. If you go to billing, accounting home, click next to report tools, it brings up the menu here that you're probably used to seeing. A couple new items, and I'll cover each one individually. The first one, billing error check. Second new item is billing invoice comparison. We'll cover billing error check first. Once you click on it, just simply brings up a search button. No dates to be entered, anything, just click search. And it's going to go back, and what it's going to find, and I'll go down through the list here, it's going to find agency billing with a start date after the end date. So any dates that are out of order there, that's agency billing. Home payments with a start date after the end date. Foster care, level of care, the start date after the end date. Foster care placements, respites with a start date after the end date. Again, residential placements, start date after the end date. Residential agency billing, start date after the end date. Residential level of care with a start date after the end date, so on and so forth down the list. The only one that's different is the bottom. There, it's going to look for special payments with no payment date. So if you've entered a special payment, let's say you forgot to put in the payment date for whatever reason, it's going to find those. And it's easy to, instead of having to go back through the system and kind of figure out where these were, obviously it's going to list it with details, client, level of care, agency. So we have a level of care that's entered. The start date is after the end date, as you see here, so we just click view. It'll take us to the client history page. And then from this page, if we look at payment screen, you'll see here we've got the level of care that's got a start date after the end date. So from the payment screen, we can correct these dates, obviously to what they should be. Let's just do one. I'm going to update that. And if I close that one. If I search, we'll see this one removed. So no more foster care level of care with start date after the end date. And the same one, you just go down through the list, and residential placements with a start date after the end date. You're going to want to look at the placement there. Placement dates are off, so you just click view. The same thing, view the placement, and then change those dates accordingly. And then, as I mentioned, post end of month verification tool. From here, you just click all. I'm just going to choose foster care. And I'm going to go back a year so it actually will show something here. But obviously what we'd be doing is searching for the month as you do your monthly billing. And what this is going to bring up is this. What this does is it looks at the placement values, agency billing value, and the reconcile agency invoice value, and it automatically calculates the census days that you see here, the census days listed for each one. It then compares those census days for agency billing and also for the reconcile agency invoice to the census days for the placement itself, and highlights, as you see here, 237 or 156, highlights any of those census days that do not match this total placement. So we have 265 total over here, but only 237 here. So we'd have to go to this. We click on the kid, click on the kid's name. We're going to look at just agency billing right now. And with this kid, the issue is, as you see here, the current placement, but his agency billing has been ended. So if we were to go in and unend the agency billing, since he is still placed, that would take care of those numbers. And with the agency invoice, the census days being fewer here, you just, once again, if you click on the kid, it's going to take you to his history page. You go to Reconcile Records, and you go here and you'd find, I believe it is this one here, one of these is going to have the days that are incorrect based on his placement, and you'll want to find and correct those here. And again, that report is the billing invoice comparison to make sure your agency billing, your invoicing, reconcile invoicing, everything is correct. You're billing for the correct number of days for the agency, and then also for the invoices, things like that. So that's just a tool that we've built to further simplify and streamline the end-of-month processes in ChildTrax. End-of-month reporting, down to billing once again, go to end-of-month reports. Now, in end-of-month reports, let's say we come in here and we want to delete the exports. You're going to be prompted twice now to verify, help you verify that you're actually deleting the correct time frame. It says this will delete the export of August 2014, since August is chosen up here at the top. Any reconcile work that has been done based on this end-of-month export will be deleted also, so that's something new. It's now going to delete the exports, but it's also going to delete the reconcile records as well. So once you click continue, you're prompted again that make sure you're deleting the correct time frame. You're not deleting a month that's already been finalized. You're deleting actually the most recent month, the one you're working on, which happens to be August in this case. Again, it tells you about the reconcile work. It's going to delete those also. Then you click yes, and then you get the confirmation that it's done. And that is the end of month. That's deleting the exports. Again, with the same thing with, we go back to billing, end of month reports, or no, excuse me, billing, accounting, home, the Indiana invoice tools. If we go back and search, if you choose to delete one of these, again, this is the Indiana invoice list on the accounting home page. You click delete, you're going to be prompted twice here as well. And make sure you read it, because it says please make sure that you want to delete invoice. Any reconcile work that has been done will be deleted also. So again, same thing with Indiana, end of month. It's going to delete the invoices, but it's also going to delete any reconcile work. So once you click continue, you'll be prompted again. Are you sure you want to delete invoice? And also again, it states that any reconcile work that has been done will be deleted also. So just further verification that you actually do want to delete these invoice amounts and the reconcile records that are tied to those. So that concludes this training, this webinar for the September update. And as I mentioned before, you will receive an email with written notes with everything that I've gone over. So not only you have a reference in your email, but you'll also be able to view the webinar, and it'll take you through the steps actually on the system, so you can see it being done and refresh your memory if needed. And again, this is Brad with your ChildTrax support team.